Hello, I'm Adam Geiser from Marks Commercial. At Marks Commercial, we're committed to not only delivering the most innovative products, but delivering the most innovative solutions as well. At the end of the day, we know the easier we make it for you and the easier we make it for your employees, the more likely we are to improve the safety on job sites. That's why I'm pleased to share with you our new digital voucher program. Access to our industry-leading assortment just got easier. Our commitment remains steadfast in ensuring all employees across Canada have access to the proper fitting PPE they require, ultimately with the intention of bringing them home safely from work each day. And now, the Marks Commercial Digital Voucher Program, an innovation that works harder for you.
Hi, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Wood. I'm the Business Process Manager for Marks Commercial, and I'm going to be walking you through our digital voucher program today. We have been working on digital voucher for a number of years, so to see it come to life is truly gratifying. It really is near and dear to my heart. This video is intended to be a walkthrough that you can watch at your convenience. It certainly doesn't cover everything, but it gives you a high-level overview of the program and what it has to offer. It is intended to replace our current paper voucher program, and we are continuously making improvements and enhancements. If you have any questions after watching the video, please reach out to your sales representative. So what is the digital voucher program? So this provides employees with self-serve, on-demand access to their digital voucher. It provides you as their employer access to entitlements and enhanced reporting. It ensures that there's systemic enforcement and tracking of entitlements, purchases, and products. And all of this information is updated in real time. So employees retain access to their vouchers with the most current information available online. And the key value points are increased efficiency, improved reporting, reduction in or elimination of invoicing issues, a seamless employee experience, and flexibility. So this is where your employees will start their journey with digital voucher. This website is accessible to anybody online, but for your employees, they will have a unique login. All right, so this is the login screen that your employees will see, and this is where they begin the journey with the digital voucher program. So as noted, each employee will be given credentials to log in, and there is information that we require to set everything up in our system. So employee first name, last name, their employee ID, a unique email address, and then the entitlement that each employee is to receive. So it's a bit of a heavier lift up front, but it allows that additional autonomy and flexibility as your employees are using their vouchers. We would provide you with a template that you would fill out to provide us with the information that we require. So once the employee has logged in, this is the view that they are going to see, and they're able to download their digital voucher. We're working on a laptop today, but this is also optimized for use on a mobile device. The behavior is slightly different depending on the device that's being used. So on a laptop, when we click download digital voucher, it does download a PDF version of the voucher. On a mobile device, when you click that, it actually pulls up the voucher right on the mobile screen. Now, that can be downloaded to the mobile device for use in store, or the employee could log in while they're in store to get the most recent version of their voucher. Now, you may be wondering, what about employees that don't have a mobile device that they can present their voucher on? For example, my dad, he has a flip phone. He loves his flip phone. He's always going to have that flip phone, but it will not work for the digital voucher. So if the employee has a PC at home and a printer, or they have access to a computer at work and a printer, or their manager can support them with printing off the voucher, then they can take that into the store instead. So we're going to look at the digital voucher itself and walk through the components that you would expect to see on the voucher and that your employees will see on the voucher. So the first thing that you see here is purchase order number. That's something, if you chose to apply a purchase order number to your employees' vouchers, that we could set up in advance. It could be applied to a group of employees, an individual employee, whatever works for you and your organization. In this case, there isn't a purchase order number, but it's absolutely something that we can apply. You'll see that there's an expiry date here. So this is specific to the program itself. So the program is comprised of the product and the pricing that's associated with that product that's been agreed upon for your company. So the voucher will be valid until that expiry date is passed. We also have the ability to assign expiry on the entitlements. So think of entitlements as the allowance that each of your employees is to receive. There is a quantity-based entitlement, which would say your employee is entitled to buy X number of products, or there is a dollar-based entitlement. And we can handle that as including taxes or before taxes. That's really used where you have employees that may be shopping across multiple provinces and you want them to have the same base amount without being impacted by different tax rates. The as of date, this is really important. What it allows our stores to have visibility to is when this voucher was downloaded. So if the employee downloaded this voucher, as we can see on January 7th, 2026, and used that the next day and charged $100 of their entitlement to their account, they would only have $50 remaining of their entitlement. The system knows that, but the voucher does not. This PDF version remains static when it's downloaded to a device. So it will not update the entitlement as it's used, although the system still has access to that information. So perhaps someone stumbles across this voucher that they've downloaded to their mobile device 6 months from now. Hey, I've got $150 in entitlement available. When they bring this into the store can say, we only see $50 in entitlement available, and we can see that this voucher was downloaded 6 months ago. They would recommend that the employee log into the site to see the most current information available for their voucher. So you'll notice that there's also a barcode on the voucher, and this is what ties that voucher to that particular employee, as well as the program and your business account. So each employee will have a unique number that is seen on the voucher. Some additional information that's found here: customer name, so that's your company name, and then the contact name, which is the employee name. You'll notice that there's one piece of information that is not seen on the voucher, and that is the employee ID. So while it's not presented here, it is captured up front in our system, and this information is all captured automatically at the point of sale in our stores. So PO number, if applicable, the employee name, their employee ID, and that's all sent downstream to our finance department for invoicing. The stores don't have to capture that information manually, so it saves time, it streamlines the process, and it ensures that the information is accurate and what your finance department will be expecting to see. All right, so we're back to the dashboard on the website. I will point out that this is also used for our customers that are set up for e-commerce purchasing. We are going to focus on the digital voucher elements today. So you'll notice that there are specific menu options here. This is really tied into the security roles, and there are some differences between employees and managers. The first thing I'll point out is the user guides. So there is one for the employees. There's also a separate one for managers and administrators. But what you see on the page here will look different for the employees and the managers. From a security perspective, anyone assigned with the employee role, and that will be the bulk of your staff, only has access to their own information. So they can access their digital voucher, they can see what entitlement they still have remaining, but they can't access information for anybody else in your organization. We also have the security role of manager, and you would typically assign a specific group of employees to each manager. Those managers will then have the ability to edit the employees, to update entitlements, or to make any other changes that might be required in here. And then there's the super user. So super users have access to everybody. And we generally recommend that each organization have at least one super user, ideally two, maybe a few more, depending on your setup requirements. It's helpful to have if you need to cover absences or should a manager leave your organization, at least it still provides access to all of the employees. And we do have some customers that choose to forego the manager level, and they will have super users that manage all of those employees. So as an employee, beyond just accessing my digital voucher, one of the most important pieces of information that they're going to want to look at when they log in is potentially their account dashboard. So that allows them to see if they have any active digital vouchers. If there are no active vouchers, then nothing will appear on their dashboard here. There is an active voucher in this case, and it lines up with the voucher that we looked at. There's $150 in entitlement that is available to that employee. So they can log in at any time to get real current information about their voucher and their programs. That's probably the most important piece from an employee perspective. There is other information that they can look at in here. There's address information, which isn't really relevant for digital voucher because there's no product that's being shipped. All of the purchasing is happening in store. From a manager and super user perspective, you're going to want to know how to make changes to your employees or your sub-accounts. So in order to do that, you're going to go into the My Sub-Accounts menu option, and we can see that there are a couple here, Jane and Joe, and both Jane and Joe are active employees. If we wanted to make some changes, we simply click on this pencil icon, and it opens up Jane's profile. Again, there's very little information that needs to be changed inside of here for digital voucher, but one of the most important pieces is this field here that indicates if the employee is active or not. If you have an employee that leaves your organization, you or your super users, the managers, someone is going to want to come in here and uncheck this field. That executes a couple of things. One, it prevents Jane from logging into the site in future. And if Jane had downloaded a voucher previously, even if the program is still active, Jane's voucher can no longer be used in store. So it prevents the usage of that voucher because Jane is no longer with your organization. You may also wish to update an employee's entitlement. That can be done by clicking this button here. And we can see that Jane currently has $350 available in entitlement. You could increase Jane's entitlement. You could decrease Jane's entitlement. If, for example, you realize that Jane was issued too much entitlement, you may want to take some away, or you may want to add. So if we needed to add an additional $50 for Jane, we would put that into this field. If we needed to decrease, we would put the amount in this field. And you can also enter a comment, which helps to remember why you may have made that change. It's visible to you, and it's also visible to us in our system. And then you simply click update, and the change goes into effect immediately. And there's multiple ways that we can manage entitlements for our employees. Some of our customers don't wish to issue an entitlement for every employee at launch. They may want to stagger that throughout the year. And again, we do have tons of flexibility when it comes to that and what works for your company. So if we are finished making our changes to Jane, we're going to back out here and look at reports. So arguably the most important reporting from a digital voucher perspective is the associate entitlement report. We can view this on screen, and we will view it on screen, but we typically recommend that you have the report sent via email. It will come to you in an Excel format. It's easier to navigate that way. The reporting on the site isn't always super user-friendly, so we strongly recommend that you send the reports via email, but we'll pop in here to show you what it looks like. So this allows us to see entitlement points that have been issued, any entitlement points that are remaining, and entitlement that may have expired. So in Sydney's case, she was issued $50. She has used $41.99, and she still has $8.01 available. If we look at Jamie, Jamie was issued $150. She used $62.99, and $87 has expired. So the difference between the two is that Sydney's either program or entitlement is still active. In Jamie's case, it could be that either the program has expired or Jamie's entitlement has expired. And if you needed to go back and add entitlement to Jamie, if that program was still active, you could absolutely do that following the steps we just walked through. So there are some questions that we commonly get from our customers. First, can we ask that our employees present ID with their digital voucher? Because this is a secure solution that requires unique credentials to log in, there is no need to present ID in our store. We would ask that your employees treat their digital voucher the same way that they would cash or a gift card. How long does the initial setup take? So this can depend on the complexity of the program, the number of employees. On average, we generally target 2 business days for setup. It can be less, sometimes it can be a little bit more, but that 2-day turnaround is really starting once we have all of the information that we need at our end to execute the setup. What if my employees don't have a company or personal email address on file? So we do understand that that is the case on occasion. If possible, we would ask that you gather that information from your employees. If that's not possible, we do have the ability to insert a placeholder email address, which your employees would then have to replace with an actual email address. It does increase the complexity of the initial login process. So where possible, we would like to get the actual email address for each employee. Do the stores require a paper copy of the digital voucher for purchasing backup? No, they don't. So while someone can come in with a paper voucher and the stores will use that to execute the purchase, they do not need to keep that paper voucher. And your employees can, of course, present on your mobile device. That is the ultimate intention, but the stores do not need to keep a paper copy, nor will they expect one. What if employee needs to return a product purchased with a digital voucher? So again, the system keeps track of all of that. If something needs to be returned or exchanged, the system will be updated. The entitlement will be credited with the amount that's being returned. That will happen in real time, and then the employee can purchase the product that they need to replace that item that they returned. And can product not in our company program be added to a digital voucher transaction? No. So it doesn't mean that the employee can't purchase something else. Perhaps they've come in to get their footwear and they want to pick up a jacket for their wife. It will just require that a separate transaction be used to process that jacket. That is done to ensure that nothing outside of what is authorized as part of your company program can be charged to your company account. So I'm sure you're curious about the in-store process and what happens there. Your employee will go to one of our hundreds of stores across the country. Upon entering, they'll be greeted by our wonderful store staff who will help them find the product of their program. They will then take that product along with their voucher to the till. The cashier will scan the voucher and the product, and your employee is good to go with their shiny new boots or whatever it is that they need to purchase. And that's it. There will be some enforcement of the elements of the voucher as we've spoken about previously. So the capture of the information, what can be charged against your account from both a dollar and a product perspective. There's lots of support that will be provided to your organization. So we have documentation that will be shared with your administrators and employees as we work through your setup and prior to launching. As noted, there are guides that are available on the website once logged in. Your first point of contact should be with your sales representative, but we also have a support team that is available Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will be providing you with the toll-free number and email information to get in touch with that team and for your employees to be able to contact us. And we've now reached the end of the demo. If you're still with me, thank you for sticking around. I'm confident that this illustrates the value that Digital Voucher brings to the table. We've been working on this capability for some time to strengthen our partnership with our customers, and we're excited to now be bringing you along on this journey with us. Thank you.